Greetings, travelers. Welcome back to my castle, and today, oh boy, do I have another new story for you. This counts as new and old, perhaps a fusion of both. This counts as a fusion of a new video and an old forgotten one. The new one is what if Naruto was gorochu. However, the old is what if Naruto was last male. Yes, I am doing this. Welcome to what if Naruto was Gorochu. I was Gorochu. Sorry about that. Welcome to what if Naruto was Gorochu. Gorochu. And the last male, part 1. We begin our story with the very beginning. And I'm not talking about the beginning of chakra. No, I'm talking about the beginning of Naruto's existence. Naruto wasn't exactly what could be called a organic being. He was more such living energy at the beginning of his universe, or hell, his entire multiverse. There was nothing but a blank null void until the first thing which spawned in this blank null realm was energy. To be specific, lightning and electricity. The lightning, however, it was red. A red lightning, which bounced all across this infinite plane, creating barriers wherever it bounced, so it would have something to bounce off of. But the second the barriers were bounced off of, they would become non-existent. And so the energy would bounce for what seemed like an eternity until the second thing to come in existence in the null realm would appear. Fire. To be specific, a crimson red fire. Now there was already a orangish red lightning. Now there was crimson red fire. Now the two elements bounced around and clashed. But that wasn't the beginning and the end of the beginning either. No. That wasn't the beginning of the beginning either. No. That would happen when the third element would come into play. You see, while fire and lightning created massive amounts of light or luminescence, the third element, and the third thing to come in existence, was darkness. Shadow, to be exact. And so, a pure black mist, this like morphing figure came into existence with a purple sort of smoke trail, and with a purple-like aura blazing off of it. The three elements came into existence, and eventually, the three elements began circling around each other, to the point where they could not move. Eventually, in the middle of their circle, came the fourth thing, and became a merge of all three elements, No one knows what to call this. However, in divine text, this fourth thing that came into existence is called Maelstrom. It's called Maelstrom or Narutanium. Narutanium or Maelstrom is a mysterious third and fourth element. Of course, there's only one source of it in all of existence. Meaning if you don't have the one source, it would be extremely rare and lucky for anyone in the entire multiverse to find any Maelstrom or Narutanium. And so, eventually, the four things became what was known as the shape of an atom. 3 elements were circling around in rings around one orb of Narutanium. Eventually, this cycle would copy an endless amount of times until an extremely large amount of Narutanium was created. This was about this size. And to humans, this would be considered right around the size of a house. No, sorry, not a house. A house cat. A full-grown cat, to be exact. Eventually, over time, this energy and this large amount of Narutanium, or Maelstrom, began to settle and began to solidify itself, eventually creating the first living life form, a creature birthed from 3 different elements, the first 3 elements, but as well as a creature are comprised of only Narutanium. For those who are wondering, is Narutanium basically chakra? The answer to that is no. Narutanium is basically a much older, or not exactly older. In this multiverse, yes, Narutanium is much older than chakra, as well as it is a lot more uncontrollable and unstable. And so, eventually, this creature began to have thoughts, instead of just being a sentient form, a solid form of energy. It began to have thoughts, ideas. It began to speak. Its first words were, "What is my purpose? Why am I here?" The sentient and form of energy said to itself. However, while others saw no blank void, at that very moment it saw fun. It saw ideas. It saw imagination. And what it thought as amazing entertainment. And so the creature basically ruled around this realm, playing for what seemed as if an infinite amount of time. However, eventually other things came into being. Planetoids, other living creatures. galaxies, universes, the multiverse itself expanded exponentially since Naruto, since the sentient orbs creation, and since the sentient forms creation. Eventually, a clan of beings formed from mostly chakra came into being. They were the Otsutsuki, a very powerful clan. Amazing with the ways of chakra, of course. Or what they considered life energy, and or what was sometimes considered life energy. However, they had no idea the powers then, and the abilities that Naruto was and that the energy itself was capable of. And so, it blazed through, until one day, whilst they were conquering a nearby galaxy, boom, faster than anything they could have thought of, a bolt of red, black, and orangish gold energy zoomed throughout, out of nowhere, in front of them. And then they saw it. A strange red, black, and yellow a strange red, black, and yellowish gold creature. However, they at first thought of it as just a weak, worthless lower life form. And so, the members of the Otsutsuki clan battled. And so the first members of the Otsutsuki clan fought against this strange creature. One of them was Sunatara. Sunadara. Sunadara was one of the oldest and strongest Otsutsuki to exist. So strong that her title amongst the Otsutsuki was the Otsutsuki goddess of rage, strength, and, hatred and destruction. She was basically revered as the ultimate destroyer. However, when she saw the strange, sentient, and form of energy, she at first thought of it as a weaker being, trying to attack it. However, while she attacked the creature with half, and with 10% of her skills, which, in its own right, an attack using 10% of her power and of her potential was able to split an entire galaxy, an entire solar system in half like butter with a 1,000-degree knife. Naruto and the strange creature, which they had not named yet, simply raised up one of its strange black paws and grabbed at the attack, which was in the shape of a energy katana, with two of its hands and with two of its fingers. It then sent the attack right backwards towards Sunadara, who was amazed that this creature, even though it looked so pathetic, it was able to easily send her attack flying backwards towards her. She then stopped playing around and went all out. The strange living energy, however, thought of it as a game and thought that this creature or woman was playing with him. And so the creature and the energy gladly accepted what it thought as playing with the girl, as it began bouncing around and landed over 10,000 hits on Tsunadara within one freaking picosecond. Tsunadara, who was considered the most terrifying of her clan to date, was confused of how hold on. Sorry about that. Tsunadara was confused of how a seemingly weak, low-born creature, or that looks so absolutely pathetic, was able to land over 10,000 hits on her in less than one single picosecond. She was astonished. She was trying her all, going over her max potential, and the creature and what she thought of it as a creature seemed to be playing with her. The other Otsutsuki teamed in. Even the others who were considered to be gods, Jashin, using all of her skills, couldn't even land a hit on the fast creature. Neither could anyone else. They were all confoozled as hell how this strange, weak creature was able to outmatch them. They thought it was from some inherent ability, and they even had Otsutsuki who had the ability to take and deflect abilities, try to attack the creature, or the living source of unlimited energy. They tried attacking it, but it simply just one-shot them all. Now the sentient and form of energy eventually started to get bored and disappeared. You'd almost entirely forgetting the otherwise boring encounter. The Otsutsuki, however, when they got back to their homelands, their center, their citadel or capital, they told everyone of the creature they faced, saying that it looked so weak and harmless and kind of adorable. But no matter what they tried, the strange creature defeated them no matter what they did, seeming as if it was playing with them. And so, eventually, they started to revere this strange creature they encountered as a god. No, even beyond that, a primordial. No, even beyond that, whatever was beyond the primordial, they thought. He was it, and possibly even stronger than that. For they called this creature Naruto, the great maelstrom of oblivion. Because no one, no matter what their skills were, no matter how old they were, how much chakra they had, how many planets, no, solar systems, no, galaxies, no, universes they'd conquered, nothing was worth Naruto's time. Eventually, even then, the Otsutsuki began to forget about Naruto. Just a little bit. However, to the royals and core members of the clan, they revered Naruto as both an innocent and quite a majestic, adorable creature, and also an unstoppable force of absolute oblivion who should never be trifled with. As they knew that if anyone was to encounter this creature, nothing could save you. No divine force of life nor death could save your ass. Not even the great Infinite Tails himself. I'm not even the great Infinite Tails itself. The one who had created their clan and could defeat it. No, at most, they thought it would be a draw, which they were correct. But that's not time for that story. Anywho, we go to Naruto, who is zipping around the vast multiverse, looking for anything to entertain him. Eventually, he gets so bored that he decides he's going to see what everything is like in an unexplainably long amount of time. And so, what does he do? He uses his mysterious forces to create an extremely hard, almost indestructible, or crystalline barrier around him, basically putting him into deep sleep as this crystalline barrier covering him flew throughout the infinite cosmos. Until one day, it hit a planet filled with unknown life. Dinosaurs. We would soon call these creatures dinosaurs. Of course, they were not anything special, just strange appearance creatures. And so they were wiped out when the casing and when the barrier surrounding Naruto hit their world. The world itself seemed as if it had reset. Until many years later, we go to the very beginning of the Age of Chakra, or the age of the Otsutsuki clan on Earth, that is. The Otsutsuki clan was relatively new, equipped with a lot of unknown skills, as there was only seemingly one blood member. The others were just monks. The blood member was known as Kaguya, the clan head, also known as the strongest creature on Earth, aside from the legendary God Tree. One day, while Kaguya was on a walk, I guess you could say, to clear her mind from thoughts of devastating wars, she had come across the strange barrier surrounding Naruto. She, in her own words, in a scroll wrote, I came across a extremely large crystalline object. It was about 13 shaku tall. For those who don't know, shaku, if I'm correct, is a very old Japanese form of measurement. I don't exactly know how it works, but I'm pretty sure 9 shaku is either 81 to 82 feet tall. So, yeah. If that's how tall 9 is, how tall would 13 be? She also wrote, she then wrote, it was about 13 shaku tall and 5 shaku wide. It was an extremely large crystalline object, which I didn't know what it was. Was it a remnant from the beings which once lived on this planet before humans? I had no idea. But either way, I walked up to the extremely large crystalline object and I saw within it a small red creature with a strange shaped tail. Strange. At first I thought it was just a large chunk of ice and tried blasting it. Nothing happened. I blasted at it with my absolute all, even shaking the entire underground cavern. This seemed to somewhat awaken the strange creature, as it then opened up one of its eyes, and as its two eyes opened, and an energy began to course from it. It was not chakra, no, something else, something older, more refined, more prehistoric. The strange creature then blinked, and the entire crystalline structure instantly exploded apart. And there in front of me it was, this small mouse-looking creature. I didn't know what it was, so I asked it, "What are you, strange creature?" The creature merely looked at me, and turned its head around. It then rushed at me and held its paw at my head, seeming as if it was doing something strange to my memories, or head, or my very mind. I didn't know. However, a couple of seconds later, the strange creature then answered me. I am called many names. The one I am most commonly called is Naruto. As Kaguya's scroll ends there, as we go back to the past, which is technically now the present, and which right now is the present. As Kaguya would drop up her jaw, and as Kaguya's jaw would drop, and jaw would drop, as she would then stare before her at the small, adorable-looking creature. Not that large at all. She then said, "You can't be. You're not even real. It can't be." As Naruto then said, "What do you mean it can't be, and why am I not real? I'm certain I exist." As she was absolutely confused and breathless. seeing a creature which was considered over a primordial's power to the Otsutsuki clan. Hell, even as strong as, and maybe even a bit stronger than the legendary godlike and the legendary Infinite Tales itself. Naruto was still very confused. However, she then said, "Do you have any other form you could possibly take?" Naruto then morphed into a shape that was strange to her, as many of and as every creature she saw was feminine or female. However, this looked nothing like them. Had no boobs, its hair was short, and it had muscle. And, well, it didn't look very feminine at all. In fact, it looked a lot more opposite, masculine. She then said, "What are you?" As Naruto would then say, "I'm Naruto. However, my species name, or at least what I call myself, is a gorochu. I kind of made it up, like, how long? What year is it? I should then tell him the year. He was confused and then said, So, are there still dinosaurs? She was confused and said the dinosaurs have been gone for billions of years. Naruto then said, "Oh, oof." As he then chuckled a bit. Seemingly in an instant, Naruto teleported next to her and said, "So, excuse me, what are these things you have on your abdomen?" As he pointed to Kaguya's boobs. And he said, "Plus, why is your biomatter that long?" As he then pointed to Kaguya's hair. And he then said, "And why are you so thin and opposite of masculine?" Kaguya then told Naruto what she was, what her gender was. Naruto was confused as hell, because to him, there was only males. And then he figured out that moment that he was the only male. And the rest were all females. And so before Naruto could say anything else, Kaguya then gave Naruto a proposition. And she then said, "Would you like to become my pet?" Naruto stared at Kaguya and said, "I'm no one's slave, miss. I am infinitely stronger than you. I doubt you could even play with me for a minute. Hell, even a second. Without leaving like the others did." And she then said others, as Naruto then explained to her a bit of his past. This really shook Kaguya down to the bone, realizing that in the scrolls which the elder Otsutsuki god classes wrote, they said that the creature fought, and that the strange creature, which they now considered an over-primordial, and at the same strength as their own god, and their own true god, was fighting. However, she realized now that he was only playing with them. And they even bored him from what she had learned. As Naruto was just about to leave, however, before he could, Kaguya asked him to stay the night with her, as she was very lonely. Naruto, wondering what night was, and what staying was, and what the was, said, alright, and went to her home and slept in a different room as her. A different room than her. In the morning, however, he woke up to a strange katana in front of his face. Truth be told, while Naruto slept all night, Kaguya invented and came up with an idea. You see, even though she had met Naruto for only a couple of minutes, she had fallen in love with the innocent creature. And so she created a blade, a mysterious one at that, which was eventually called the blade. She eventually called it the container, or the energy vessel. The reason why is because this blade's purpose was to be able to absorb Naruto's entire existence and keep him in that blade until he did as Kaguya wanted. However, all she managed to do was only seal 75% of Naruto's power within the blade. Now you're probably all wondering, how the hell is she beating a being, and how the hell is she defeating a being that is so powerful they consider the strongest being they know of to be equal to this new creature? How is she defeating it with such ease? Well, simple. Like I said earlier, Naruto is only a humanoid form of energy, just like chakra, however a lot more older, refined, complex, and, well, prehistoric. Therefore, Kaguya was able to learn a bit and be able to seal his body, or at least his energy, within the blade, and within the blade which she had created. However, before she could completely seal Naruto within, which she'd already sealed 99% of Naruto inside the sword, he escaped, only being able to go 1,000,000 times the speed of light as his max speed. Now you're probably all wondering, hold on, this guy goes 1,000,000 times this literal, and our universe's literal speed limit, and that is his weakest speed? Yes it is. As Naruto would then hide within not hide, before he could fully escape, however, Kaguya would stab the blade right through Naruto's chest in his humanoid form, thus causing the rest of Naruto's corporeal form to be sucked within the blade, as 100% of himself was sealed within the blade, she would try to command him, or at least try to condition him. Naruto, however, being as old as he is and as powerful as he is, would not obey, and therefore she punished him by keeping him within the blade for many years. That was until one day, during a great battle against Kaguya and her children, her eldest daughter, one of her daughters, Hagoroma, by the way. Hagoroma accidentally shattered the blade. Well, not shattered, she chipped it, as this was the blade which Kaguya fought with all the time. Its power was so great that no one could beat her with it. However, Naruto would not allow her to express even less and even more than 0.05% of his power. So yeah, that is 5/100 of Naruto's power. And by the way, it doesn't cap out at 100. Alright? No. It caps out a lot farther than 100. And with this, and with the power within her blade, with one swing, she was able to split an entire universe apart with ease. That's how powerful this blade is. With 0.05% of Naruto's unholy power. An absolutely destructive and disrespectful power. Of course, when this happened, i.e. being the blade chipped, a little bit of Naruto's energy leaked out, and by that, I mean just enough to create a physical form. However, this physical form was Naruto's first form, meaning he did not have enough to turn into a humanoid state. Hagoroma looked and saw this adorable fuzzy creature, as it then spoke in a human sounding voice, and said, "Who are you, and where is Kaguya? And where's Kaguya Otsutsuki?" The two daughters then pointed in front and from behind Naruto, showing Kaguya wielding his very blade, and wielding the blade which had most of his entire existence inside. She then said, "Naruto, what are you doing out of your blade? And what are you doing out of your container? Back in. As she would then instantly repair the blade, as she would then try to slash at Naruto, who would dodge. The two daughters would be confused and would say, "Who's Naruto? And who are you? What are you even? And why does Mom want you in? And why does our mother want you in that blade?" Ow! Fluffing cat. Alright, hold on. Sorry. My cat just attacked my feet with two of its paws, and with its two front paws. But back to the story. As Naruto would then quickly explain that many years ago, Kaguya basically, he tricked him and sealed him within a blade for reasons he did not know. She was able to use, and with the blade, she was able to use an extremely small fraction of his almost limitless power. When the two found out this, they then realized that Naruto was a lot stronger than they could have ever imagined. As Naruto then said, I can't even create my humanoid form, because of this. As he then dashed at the string, and as he then dashed with the... Hold on. Sorry about that. As the Naruto would dash at Kaguya with the two daughters, each preparing their strongest attacks, while Naruto simply prepared a slash with his tail. In all, they were able to defeat Kaguya by sealing her away in the moon. However, before she was fully sealed, she swore two things. One, and she said two things. One, that she hated her daughters more than anything for getting in her way. And two, that she would gain and get Naruto back. And the next time, she would permanently have him as her own. All to herself. Naruto didn't exactly like this, and didn't exactly know what it meant, but he knew it didn't mean good things. However, she then used some of the power within within the blade, and her own chakra, creating a new creature. A strange one. It was all black. And it was black and white, seeming as if it was a fusion of Natsuki and something else. The creature had green hair. As Kaguya would then say, "Behold, Naruto-kun, this is what I have created out of my love for you. This is our daughter." As Naruto looked before him, a creature made out of Atsuki and gorochu energies had potential to be extremely dangerous. This, of course, allowed the mysterious new formed creature to gain the ability to basically copy the abilities of anyone who it made contact with, the first person being Naruto and the three siblings. However, since it was made from the blade and Kaguya, it was able to use a lot more of Naruto's power than Naruto himself, thus giving her basically a massive boost, allowing the power she had copied to become 10 times stronger than the original power itself. In other words, she's freaking OP. As Zetsu was fully sealed in the moon, the strange daughter of Naruto's dashed away, off to figure out its purpose. Eventually, after that, Hagoromo and Hamori were able to meet Naruto and actually talk with him. Hagoromo wondered why the creature before them was so important. Hagoromo then said, Naruto easily said, "Let's just say to your mother and the rest of her clan, I am considered a god, or a being above god. Odds." And for that reason, not only did they fear me, but they wanted to possess me, possess my power. However, with your mother, it seems much different than just simply wanting power. I don't know why, but I have a feeling that will not be the last time we see of her. Even if we do not see her for many, many, many years. As Hagoromo would then proceed to tell Naruto of her connection with Kaguya. Naruto would then be thankful and was just about to leave. That was until Hagoromo placed a seal on Naruto. A strange seal which seemed to be in the form of a Nazi symbol. For those who have watched Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, this symbol is the caged bird seal. In other words, pretty much it means, you're my property now and you can't leave. Naruto had realized that sense, hence, even though Kaguya's daughters were made from 50% of human female blood, and 50% of Otsutsuki chakra, their desires from their mother still continued on to them, thus wanting them to capture Naruto. However, Hagoromo simply created the first seal, and created one of the first seals, the caged bird seal, and used it to command Naruto and basically control him. Hamori and Hagoromo basically kept Naruto all to themselves and tried to basically adore him and keep it that way, all to themselves. However, eventually, Hagoromo died of old age, split the 10 tails into 9 biju, and yada yada. Eventually, Hamori left to the moon to take care of the seal. Naruto, however, was left in the care of Hagoromo's 2 daughters, Indra and Ashuri. Indra and Ashura. Asura. No. Indra and Ashura. Yeah. Indra and Ashura. The 2 daughters basically fought over Naruto a lot. And then with Indra finding out about, Mangekyo Sharingan, and wanting her mother's power, combined with want for Naruto, basically, what happened. However, once the siblings had died and begun to die out, once the siblings fought and began to take hard wounds, the symbol on his forehead, the caged bird seal, actually began to become non-existent, thus allowing Naruto to be free. And yes, over time he was able to make a chibi human form. However, before he could escape, he fully Indra placed a new seal to Naruto, basically turning him into stone. Not turning him into stone, basically keeping him in a giant case of stone. Turning him into a statue of sorts. Or it's in his gorochu form. And eventually, well, and eventually, Indra brought the statue to her new clan and compound, creating the Uchiha clan. She then told her descendants of and myths about an extremely powerful creature which once existed, and eventually the Uchihas revered Naruto as a god. Madara Uchiha, in particular, after her, about 100 years after, and who was born about 100 years after Indra died, grew insanely obsessed with Naruto, with the Uchiha's god, as they would call it. Hell, they would even say that they got the 3 Tomoe from their Sharingan from the 3 Tomoe on Naruto. And that it was a sort of blessing from Naruto. And eventually, well, that is where I'm ending this part off. I hope you all have enjoyed part 1 of What If Naruto was Gorochu and the last male, or the first male. Part 1. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. I'll see you all later. Goodbye, and, skadoosh.